stuck on the tracks near San Antonio, Texas, and a freight train in California that obliterated a cat wheel loader, to a woman in Iowa who rolled her car into the path of an oncoming train, and incredible close-up footage of a crash during a government test. Here are our picks for the scariest train collisions and mistakes caught on camera. Redding, California is a small town in Shasta County, about 162 miles north of Sacramento. It's home to about 95,000 people living along the Sacramento River. The location has made Redding the economic center of the Shasta Cascade region. Trains constantly come in and out. On October 4th of 2023, a 25-year-old man from Washington got stuck while driving over the railroad tracks near Breslauer Way. And just when things couldn't get any worse, he heard the ominous sound of the incoming train. According to police, the driver tried desperately to move the truck, but it wouldn't budge. He would have made it if not for the low-clearance trailer he was pulling and the Caterpillar wheel loader he had on top. The train sent the tractor flying into the crossing arm, causing significant damage. The train itself belonged to the Union Pacific Railroad. For some reason, nobody called to notify the railroad that a tractor was stuck on the tracks. The driver didn't know until he came around the bend. By then, it was too late. Thankfully, nobody got hurt during the crash. The only damage was to the train's front end, and obviously the semi-truck. The collision did shut down the intersection for several days, which was a major headache for the locals. Hiawatha, Iowa is a small city north of Cedar Rapids. It's home to a few thousand people, making it relatively safe and easy to patrol for the local police department. When something does happen, they can respond immediately. On July 20th of 2022, 2 officers responded to a call near the train tracks in Hiawatha. Someone needed medical attention, so our officers waited by the ambulance while EMTs did their thing. That's when they heard a train leaning on its horn. They didn't think anything of it until they saw a white car rolling toward the tracks.
847, we have a PI, car versus train. This is unrelated to our call. This is something that happened in front of us, County. Just stay back. Everybody get back.
By some miracle, the 50-year-old woman behind the wheel only suffered minor injuries. She was taken to the hospital where she made a full recovery. She's lucky police and paramedics were literally down the street. Police believe alcohol may have been involved in some way. How else could something like this happen? She likely fell asleep behind the wheel and rolled over the tracks at the worst possible moment. In the age-old battle of train versus car, the train always wins. Have you ever wondered how the government spends your tax dollars? What if we told you the Department of Transportation likes to spend that money by crashing trains into log trucks? Now, obviously, they do it in the name of driver safety. As we've seen, plenty of semi-trucks get stuck on train tracks. The DOT wants to ensure train operators are kept safe during a collision. So, in the early 2000s, the DOT asked, what would happen if a train traveling at 50 miles per hour T-boned a fully loaded log truck? Well, this would happen. The train cuts like a knife through butter. And if you thought that was cool, wait until you see it in slow motion. The logs fly like splintered popsicle sticks. It's incredible how little the truck moves after being struck by a 50-mile-per-hour train. The rear angle is cool, but it's basically what we've already seen. Wait until you see the top down. The train blasts through the logs effortlessly. It never shakes or rattles, meaning it can withstand the impact without derailing. The DOT also determined that the crew inside the lead car would be perfectly safe. For their next test, the DOT wanted to see what would happen if a train crashed head-on into stationary boxcars. Their test footage doesn't disappoint. The train's forward momentum carries it up and over the stationary car. Let's check that out again in slow motion. The speeding train crushes the rear car. Its front grille acts like a ramp, propelling the train up instead of off to the side. The entire front car almost makes it over before the train finally stops. The DOT's final report doesn't clarify the damage inside the speeding train. Judging by this impact, we don't think the test dummy was having a good time. Cibolo, Texas is a small city northeast of San Antonio. They owe their existence to the Southern Pacific Railroad, which cut through the area en route to major cities like San Antonio and Houston. The train tracks certainly giveth, but they also taketh away. On February 25th of 2020, a semi-truck was driving through Cibolo when it got stuck on the elevated train tracks. Try as he might, the driver couldn't get the truck to budge. He ran away at the last second as an oncoming train obliterated his big rig.
This truck got stuck on the railroad. Now the railroad things are coming. Here he comes. Oh. Oh. That's why you don't crossings. Holy shit. On a good note, I needed to make a ride up here, and he just cleared that for me so I can keep going to work.
Thanks to Google Earth, we can look from the opposite side of the tracks. Notice how steep the road gets as it goes over the tracks. Cars can clear it without issue. In fact, the cab of this semi-truck cleared it just fine. It's the middle section that gave him trouble. It bottomed out on the tracks, making it impossible to move